Many who visit the Musée d'Orsay are awestruck by the 1902 passionate tripartite sculpture by Camille Claudel called L'Âge mûr, or The Mature Age. Claudel's story as the assistant, muse, and lover of Auguste Rodin is well documented in lore and compelling films, but what is less known is Rodin's role in first helping Claudel obtain a public commission for L'Âge mûr and then silencing Claudel's genius as he effectively blacklisted this composition. In 1895, Claudel won a commission in Paris for the first large-scale public work of art by a woman artist. The work, L'Âge mûr, incorporates a version of L'Imploring in its construction. The public commission of L'Âge mûr, however, was inexplicably cancelled in 1899, not long after Rodin saw the plaster model and was shocked by his being depicted unflatteringly in the unsubtle reference to his and Claudel's relationship. Claudel's beloved friend, the esteemed French art dealer Eugène Blot, cast L'Âge mûr, as well as the separate autobiographical component, L'Imploring. It's a self-representation as a pregnant woman, begging Rodin to stay, belly bulging from the child she carried, which was likely fathered by Rodin. Youth on one side imploring, and an aging man in the middle, an older woman on the other side, pulling the man away. Claudel's brother, Paul Claudel, who was also the French ambassador to the United States, wrote of the work, "My sister Camille, imploring, humiliated, on her knees. That superb, proud creature, what is being wrenched from her, right there before your very eyes, is her soul." The continued betrayals by Rodin, Claudel's brothers and mother's intense disapproval at her lifestyle and artistic career, and the death of Claudel's supportive father are thought to have caused her unraveling. Claudel's hysteria, an age-old diagnosis used to silence and control women, prompted her brother and mother to have Claudel involuntarily admitted to an asylum in 1913. Institutionalization spared her brother and mother of the shame of Claudel's abortion and unorthodox life choices, but it ended her career as an artist. As a woman, Claudel lacked legal agency, so despite her doctor's request for her release, Claudel spent the last 30 years of her life in near isolation. Her brother Paul visited her 7 times. Her mother made no visits. After institutionalization, Claudel never made another sculpture. L'Imploring is but a moment that replays the tragedy that was Claudel's life, and it is the most desirable Claudel artwork now available on the international art market. The sculpture's origin can be traced directly from Eugène Blot's foundry to the lineage of Claudel's immediate family. Another assistant of Rodin, the later-to-be famous French sculptor François Pompon, assisted Claudel on its finishes. Claudel's family treasured the sculpture, carefully handing it down from generation to generation, and finally entrusting it into the hands of Turner Carroll. Owing to Turner Carroll's well-known expertise in representing and commitment to women artists, Claudel's family approached the gallery about selling the spectacular and extremely significant work. Michael Carroll and Tanya Turner Carroll wanted to help expand the career of Claudel that ended so early and so abruptly. Once contacted by Claudel's family, they traveled to Europe to see the sculpture in person and to retrace Claudel's artistic journey. Michael and Tanya visited the Monteverge Asylum, as well as Claudel's childhood home outside Paris, which now houses the National Musée Camille Claudel. The museum boasts 70 of her works, as well as works by her other teachers and by her collaborator, Rodin. This posthumously erected museum stands in stark contrast to the Monteverge Asylum, where Claudel was locked away until her death in 1943, and where she was eventually buried in a mass grave. It wasn't until her great niece, Reine-Marie Paris, an art historian who devoted her own life to resurrecting Claudel's artistic legacy, created the first comprehensive catalogue raisonné in Claudel's work, and organized international exhibitions that Camille Claudel's genius became widely known. In January 2020, Tanya Turner Carroll returned to Paris to file papers at the Louvre to apply for an export permit for L'Implorant to leave France and come to the United States. This visit coincided with Judy Chicago's collaboration with Maria Grazia Chiuri, the first female head of an haute couture house. Chicago's resulting monumental structure, the Female Divine, was built in the shape of an ancient fertility goddess as the set for Dior's runway show and, remarkably, was erected in the garden of the Rodin Museum. At Rodin's request, Claudel's sculptures are included in the Rodin Museum, but they're installed in a single room. As Turner Carroll photographed L'Implorant at the museum, she was struck by the fact that L'Implorant was contained inside the museum, while Chicago's monumental building existed freely outside, visible through a window. L'Implorant gazed directly into the opening of the Judy Chicago structure, which towers banners putting forward questions like, "What if women ruled the world?" And this posed an astonishing conversation between Claudel and Chicago about freedom and control. In the summer of 2020, Turner Carroll obtained the necessary legal permissions to bring Claudel's most significant available work to the United States. Word of its presence quickly reached curators, who then visited Santa Fe to see L'Implorant, and subsequently made plans to include it as a central piece in Camille Claudel at the Art Institute of Chicago and at the Getty Museum. This exhibition will be the first comprehensive display of Claudel's work in the United States in over 20 years. Camille Claudel opens to the public at the Art Institute of Chicago on October 7, 2023, and will include speaker talks alongside the collection of Claudel's intimate sculptures. Should L'Implorant find a new home during these exhibitions, a portion of the proceeds from the sale will fund a film about the Amazon, illustrating that though Claudel was not a mother herself, the power of her artwork might give birth to a better future for Mother Earth. Camille Claudel's life, like the lives of so many women, contained experiences of mental and emotional torture inflicted by both men and women who wielded power. Her artwork was purposefully overlooked, and her voice attempted to be silenced. So why did Claudel's artwork live in the shadows? Well, the essay written by Linda Nochlin, "Why Have There Been No Great Women Artists?" perfectly explains the microaggressions and institutional obstacles that prevented women from being successful in the arts. Many of these barriers were created by male curators, collectors, museum directors, and powerful people generally. For centuries, it was defined as unladylike and inadequate for women to embrace the same passion and creativity men were celebrated for. Claudel herself was even denied acceptance into l'École des Beaux-Arts because of her gender. And in her work for Rodin, she was not only denied recognition as a talented sculptor, but also credit for the difficult body parts she sculpted for him. So while Rodin has over 400 objects in U.S. museums, many of which Claudel contributed to, Claudel has a mere 9 works in U.S. museums. It's time for this to change, and for museums to actively collect works by the brilliant artist Camille Claudel.